What is up, everybody? This is the Fourth and Forever podcast. I am your host, Josh Kirby, and let's get into it.
That's a W.
Let's start off with this weekend. We have crowned a new Masters champion. Well, not really new. Rory McIlroy has won his second Masters, his sixth majors. It took Rory 3,900 days between his fourth and fifth major. It only took 365 days between his fifth and his sixth. He's become the fourth player in history to win back to back Masters. Last person doing it was Tiger Woods in 2001, 2002. Now, before we talk more about Rory, let's focus on another great moment. Scotty Scheffler, best in the world right now. Still, after this win for Rory, Scotty's still the best. Scotty became the first player in 84 years to go bogey free on the final 36 holes. So Scotty had a rough day too, but on the weekend has really climbed up to take second in the tournament, and he was literally maybe like this close away from going into a playoff. But Rory pulled it out. And before the tournament, Rory talked about how a lot of the pressure came off of him after getting his win last year, and how he felt the weight was lifted off his shoulders. And he could go out there and he looked like he was having fun. He looked like he was enjoying himself. But the truth about Rory, what Rory always does, he makes it nervous, he makes it close. He entered the largest lead ever going into a day two with a 6-shot lead, and it crumbled down with Cam Young being able to lead, being the leader going into Sunday. But what Rory does is recovery. He hits a bad shot off the tee, he recovers immediately. Hits a bad shot, lining up the green, makes it on there and puts up an excellent short putt. Rory has constantly, throughout his whole career, has seen ups and seen downs, but his recovery on consistent basis has been why he's become one of the most known and greatest golfers in the world. And now with a win like this looks towards his legacy, his future. I mean, I could very well say that I could see Rory winning a third or a fourth Masters in the future. His confidence is at an all-time high. His skill, he's in his prime. There's just not there, there's so much I can say about Rory, but honestly, for anyone that doesn't pay much attention to golf, please, they you have to. Like, these athletes, what they do is unprecedented. I mean, it's phenomenal seeing the competitiveness. I mean, coming down into the final day, there was at least 8 guys in it. And like coming into the day, Scotty wasn't even in the top three, and Scotty was able to climb all the way back up there. I mean, you had Burns that was in it, Justin Rose who put in a great performance. It just Cam Young, and just constantly Shane Lowry with 2 hole-in-ones on the weekend. I mean, or I think one on Saturday and one on Friday, but either way, it was just an overall highly anticipated tournament that lived up to all the hype. But congrats to Rory. Yeah, as you all know, my favorite golfer of all time since I was young. He's the guy I've been rooting for, and I was so happy to see him win back to back. It's it was phenomenal. But now that that Masters is over, it's time for me to really carry some weight and talk about my mock draft 2.0. So we already sat down and did this, but after some reports have came out, some seeing who visits what camp, who's doing what, I think I've listed up a new mock draft. How accurate? Who knows? But I'm when you do a mock draft, you're not just trying to figure out who the best players are. Like, it's not always the top 32 prospects. It's what player is going to fit what spot the best. So you may have a tackle that is better than another tackle, but if the fit isn't where they need to go, then you might swap that out for someone else. But I did a mock draft this morning for my 2.0. I've been doing mock drafts almost every day, trying to settle on what I feel is a good 2.0 mock draft. But this will be my official 2.0. So starting off the board, number one, the Raiders are taking Fernando Mendoza. I don't think that changes for anyone. I think that is a consistent number one pick. I think he's going to do very well in the league, and I think the Raiders signing Kirk Cousins is going to lead him into a really good, successful path entering the NFL. Now, for pick number two, I've been going back and forth on this. Is the Cardinals going to, is the Jets going to take David Bailey, or are they going to take Arvell Reese? I think based on what the Jets want to do, I think they're going to take what they would consider one of the best athletes off the board and probably the best linebacker off the board, someone that can blitz on the edge or from the interior, it would be Arvell Reese. He is going to go number two. He was a standout at Ohio State. He flashes on the tape. This is almost a can't miss kind of pick. He's going to easily be able to replace Quincy Williams, who's no longer there, C.J. Mosley, all those great linebackers that the Jets have been known for. Um, he's going to fill this role really well, and I think this is a great pick for the Jets. I think they have other needs more dire. I think they need a replacement for Brees Hall when he eventually either doesn't sign or gets traded. They need a quarterback. They need some linemen. They need a lot of pieces. But getting a pivotal piece for your defense, it never hurts. And then at number three, originally I had the Cardinals taking a tackle here, but I think based on who they're bringing in and the direction this team is going, they want to add an impact player immediately, not so much a grounded player, even though I think grabbing an offensive lineman adds that ground, the stability. It really helps set the trenches on your offensive side, but it seems they might not lead that way. So they're going to take the best edge rusher in this draft, and that's David Bailey. David Bailey has been I've talked about him. He's been one of my favorite picks in this draft. I think off the board as the top prospects, he is the best edge rusher coming out. He may not have had the season of Ruben Bain Jr., but I just think overall pure pass rusher, what he puts on the field, this is the perfect position for him, and I think he can make an immediate impact for the Arizona Cardinals. And at number four, no change here. I think the Titans are going to take Jeremiah Love. I think they want to establish the run game here. Robert Saleh comes from the Shanahan coaching scene. He knows that establishing the run is the most vital and important part of any offense. It allows the quarterback less pressure off the quarterback. It allows them to do more things. Now, I think they probably should consider taking a tackle here to help shore up that offensive line. But and a team that wants to make a splash play. And I have to say, there's a lot of teams that when you draft running backs this high for someone that has I think, a home run hitter, you don't miss up on this guy. Such as when the Falcons took Bijan Robinson or the Giants taking Saquon Barkley. There's can't miss guys. Jeremiah Love is a can't miss guy. He's going to have an immediate impact. And if you look at his college stats, he was better he was more, I wouldn't say bad, was just as good against top opponents as he was against poorer opponents. So you know Jeremiah Love is going to put on good numbers no matter what he does, no matter what offensive line's in front of him or what defenses he's playing against. And that gives a lot of, I would say, belief for the Titans team that they have not had in recent years. Even after last year with Cam Ward, you don't know what you're getting from Cam still. You think he improved on the end of the season, but going into year two, there's a lot of question marks still, especially with new coach, same quarterback, a lot of revolving pieces on that defense. I think this is the perfect guy to bring in on the offense and see where you can go from here. That being said, number five, I had the Giants originally taking Caleb Downs. Now, Caleb Downs has been talked about as one of the highest prospected safeties in the draft, though his size has definitely, I think, has turned some people off. Some people say he may be a little undersized. With that being said, I think the Giants are going to take the safest pick here, which would be linebacker Sonny Styles. John Harbaugh really likes good defensive players. He really reigns true of drafting great defensive players in the draft. He, I think, is a little bullish seeing how wide receivers turn out in the first round for the Ravens. So I think he would want to lean against taking a wide receiver here. So I think taking the best maybe athlete in the whole draft is Sonny Styles, and he's someone that is a hybrid kind of player. Now, I thought Sonny Styles would be a good top three pick, but I think Arizona drafted Isaiah Simmons, you know, all them years ago, and a similar play style, and it didn't pan out for them. So I think because of that, they would be less likely to take Sonny at three. So that means Sonny falls to the Giants at five, which I think is a great pick for him. He's got a versatility to him that where he can play almost anywhere on that front seven or even play a little bit of safety as well. He's got the most hybrid feel. He's going to be the most versatile player in this draft on defense. He's going to have an immediate impact on this team, and I think the Giants are going to love bringing him in, especially if if they have to trade away Dexter Lawrence. Even though Sonny don't play out in the middle, having just another great defensive player to fill in another slot, knowing that you're might lose a great defensive player, it always bodes very well. And then nothing changes here at number six. The Browns taking Carnell Tate. They need a receiver for their quarterback. If they want to build around Shadir Sanders, this is what they have to do. Now, I think this is a team that could take a lineman here just to protect their quarterback and establish the run game. But I think if Carnell Tate's here at 6, you can't pass on Carnell Tate. I think if the Giants take him, that would be the only other person in the top 5 that I could see taking a wide receiver would be the Giants. But if the Giants pass on him, the Browns can't pass on him because any team after this would love to have a wide receiver of that caliber. I think the Browns would take it. They're getting a home run hitter at wide receiver, and they're going to be very happy with what they can produce, especially with a pick later in the draft. They might take another lineman that I think could fill in really well. But we'll get to that when we get to pick 24. At pick 7, I think the Washington Commanders are going to take Ruben Bain Jr. Ruben Bain Jr. I don't care about his short arms. I don't care that you see his stats, you see the pressure he puts on, you see his relentless effort. This is something that's going to translate to the NFL seamlessly. I love Ruben Bain Jr. I think people that knock him for his short arms haven't watched enough game tape, have not watched enough film. He's going to be a relentless, nonstop player every time you put him on that field, and he's going to bring a nice edge to this Dan Quinn led defense for the Commanders. I think this is a brilliant draft pick, and I don't think there's anyone better for them to take at this position. Now, here's where some more things change up. I think the Saints will then take Makai Lemon, wide receiver, at number 8. The Saints need to put someone next to Chris Olave, and Chris Olave has dealt with concussions throughout his career, so you don't know where he's going from there. You don't know if Tyler Shuck's the guy or not, but you're going to find out if you can give him a versatile weapon like him. Alvin Kamara, who knows if he's going to be there another year. There's a lot of question marks on this team. I think you bring in a formidable receiving threat that is just an athlete. He's a Debo Samuels kind of athlete. He's just going to do whatever you ask him to do on that offense. And I think with a genius mind of Kellen Moore at the head coach, he would really know how to utilize a talent like that better than most. Then at number 9, the Chiefs. Now, there are a lot of people at the Chiefs all over the board. Are they going to take a corner? Are they going to take an edge? But your quarterback is coming off of a devastating injury. Your offensive line has been your weakness for many years, especially in every Super Bowl you lost. It's been because of that offensive line. So why risk it? Why take a chance? You were going to draft the best offensive lineman in the draft, and it's going to be Francis Mauigoa. He is the tackle from Miami, and he's going to be a brick wall on that right side. You're going to pair him up on your offensive line. You're now with him. You have 2 starting tackles. You have one of the best centers, if not the best center in the league, and you have a real sturdy ability to protect Patrick Mahomes, so he doesn't have to risk being injured again. Because if Mahomes goes down again, that could alter his whole career and alter what the Chiefs do. I mean, does that mean Travis then retires next year? The following year? Does that mean Andy Reid is ready to walk away? Like, there's a lot of things. If Mahomes can't stay upright and can't stay healthy, it's going to devastate this whole team. I know they need an edge rusher. I know they need a corner, but they have other picks in the draft. They can draft someone later. Why take a chance and wait to get the second or third best tackle, the fourth or fifth best tackle? I mean, they're drafting 29th after this. At that point, you're going to get the fourth or fifth best tackle in the league. Why do that? Why wait? Why wait to draft one of those later in the draft? Take him right now. You know you can get someone later. This I think would be the best pick for the Chiefs. It's a boring pick. I get it. Drafting offensive linemen aren't flashy. It's not something your fan base is going to ride home about. But this is the pick I think the Chiefs need to make to protect their franchise, which is the most important part of this team. Which leads to number 10, the Bengals taking Akeem Mesidor from Miami. And now all you know how much I love Akeem Mesidor. He's going to immediately replace Trey Hendrickson in presence, in leadership, in I've told you, he's the vet of this class. He's one of the older draft prospects going number 1, going in the first round. Even though, like I said, even though Ruben Bain Jr. was the better stat performer, Akeem Mesidor never got overshadowed by Bain. He was always in it. He was always putting up his own numbers. He is going to be, I think, he has the potential of being the most productive edge rusher coming out of this draft almost immediately. Especially, the teams you're going against. You have to have someone go after Lamar Jackson. The Browns are trying to bolster up their O line. You need someone on the edge to take that. And the Steelers, if they're going to have a standstill Aaron Rodgers again, the best way to knock someone like him off his feet is getting a good edge pressure on him. I think this is a perfect genius pick for the Bengals. Plus, having one of the worst defenses in the league for the last couple of years, this guy could really do some real damage, and this would be a great move for them. That leading to number 11, the Miami Dolphins taking Mansour Delane. Now, I think if Mansour falls, there's a good chance the Ravens take him at 14, but I think Miami would be very unintelligent taking anyone but Mansour Delane, who, in my opinion, would be the best prospect left. Even though I don't have him as my favorite corner in this draft, I think based on Jamal McCoy being injured all last season, coming off an ACL, and you're not really sure if he's 100%, taking someone like Mansour Delane is almost a proven bet. He's someone that I think can have immediate impact, and if he comes to Miami and a team that is lacking talent across the board. I mean, they're bringing in a new coach, they're bringing in Malik Willis, and they got Devon Achane running back. But outside of that, their team has been devastated. They no longer have Anthony Weaver as their DC. They no longer have anyone on that defense that you can remember. I mean, other than maybe what Chop Robinson, I think he's the only one still there. So they got their edge. So it'd be really nice having a nice corner that can really help tie up this defense and some loose ends that this team has plenty of, which leads to number 12. I think the Cowboys are going to get the steal of the draft at 12 because someone that should have gone in the top 5 is now going to go in the top 12, and that is Caleb Downs, safety. Yes, the undersized might worry you, but have a versatile best safety in the draft. I think he's going to be a home run hit for the Cowboys. They need help on the back end. They need someone that is a sure tackler, that can great in coverage, someone that can play all across that back end of the field. He's going to come in this league, and I think he can make a good impact for the Cowboys. And I don't think there's much better player in this draft that screams Dallas Cowboy more than Caleb Downs. I think the Cowboys need someone like that. Then they need a defensive player, and if Mansour Delane isn't here, they're going to take the best safety available, and that's Caleb Downs. Next at 13, the Rams, I think, have a lot of options here. I originally had them taking Makai Lemon, but with Makai Lemon coming off the board at number 8, I am now thinking they're going to change their route and they're going to go to protect their quarterback. Because the truth is, you're going against a Seattle team that's got a great defense. You're going against a Niners team that they're going to try to improve their defense. You're going against a Cardinals team that just drafted a great edge rusher at number 3. So what do you do to counteract all that? You bring in another great lineman that he can either start at right tackle or even play guard, worst case scenario. But I think you got a killer tackle here in Spencer Fano. I like Spencer Fano. I think he's I have him as probably my third best lineman in this draft. I would say based on position need, I think for what he brings to the table, this is the best pick for the Rams. I think they haven't had a true stud tackle since Andrew Whitworth left. I like the guys they have there, but I don't love the guys they have there. Rob Havenstein did just retire as well, so having to replace someone of his stature is difficult. So I think bringing in a guy who can immediately slot in at right tackle would be ideal. Plus, like I said, you got Matthew Stafford back there. He's not going to be running around and looking like a Josh Allen back there. He's an old Matt Stafford, not a young Matt Stafford. He needs to be able to be upright. He needs a clean pocket. Spencer Fano is going to create a very nice clean pocket for Matthew Stafford, and I think that is the ideal pick at 13. And at 14, the Ravens. I want us to take Kenyon Sadiq here. I really do. I want us to take Jamal McCoy here. I do. But our franchise is Lamar Jackson. We have Mark Andrews. We have Zay Flowers. We have Rashad Bateman. We love Tez Walker. We have 2 really outstanding tackles. We have to replace our center and replace one of our guards because Emory Jones, I think, is going to come up and start immediately. So what do? We're going to take the best guard in the draft, and that's Aloy Vega. Eon. Eo, I think that's how you say it. I'm going to get it right by the time we draft him. And I'm sorry if I pronounce it wrong, but he's a guard from Penn State. He's the best guard in the draft. Like I said, it's not a pretty pick. It's not a flashy pick. But when you're a team that is stacked all across the board on defense, especially just bringing Trey Hendrickson has even improved our defensive line, even though this is not the flashiest pick, I want us to protect our franchise because this team has proven Lamar being hurt, Lamar being banged up, does not lead to success for this team. And we need to be able to establish the run. We need to play hard defense, and we need Lamar Jackson at 100%. Getting a guard that is going to be proven and can start day one There's nothing better. This is what we need to do. Leading to that is the Buccaneers, who has since the mock draft, I've changed their strategy. I thought they were going to take an edge rusher here. I don't believe an edge rusher will be their pick. I think with Lavonte David retiring, they want to immediately address that linebacker position. So they're going to take Georgia linebacker CJ Allen. Now, they're not everyone I think loves CJ Allen. I think his coverage across the middle could be better. I think that's something that Lavonte David's really good at that you can't replace. But he's a proven tackler. He's going to be a great linebacker. He can blitz. He can stuff the run. This is a guy that really has a lot of versatility at that linebacker spot. Even though his coverage strengths could improve, you're also looking at a team that has a really good safety in Antoine Winfield. So you're not as worried about the coverage as much. And that's something you can bring in another linebacker to pair off with him. But I think CJ Allen is the second best linebacker, and I would say third best linebacker in this draft. And I think he's drafting higher than most people would have him. But I think when immediate need like the Bucks opened up I think he's the best player. They don't need a wide receiver. I think their offensive line is pretty good. They need an edge rusher and they need a linebacker. I think they'll take the best available between those positions, and that right now would be CJ Allen. Then the Jets. I think they're still taking one of my favorite receivers off the board. They're going to take Jordan Tyson. They need to pair up someone with Garrett Wilson. I don't know who exactly they're starting with at quarterback. I don't think they have a set plan. Is it Geno Smith? Is it someone else? Who knows? But maybe they'll draft Ty Simpson later and you'll see Ty Simpson come into play. But the truth is, taking Jordan Tyson is going to immediately give you an outside threat. He plays similar to more like a Courtland Sutton kind of player. And I think that would be really useful for a team like this where they need to be able to get the ball out quick, get the ball out more in short zone scenarios. This is something that they're going to. He maybe on a guy that can go on the outside. Tyson's got a good route tree. He's got overall good abilities across the board. I think he is easily, in my opinion, the second or third best receiver in this draft. I have him above Makai Lemon because I think his discipline's a little stronger than Lemon, and I think that really matters when you're going to a dysfunctional organization. You want to bring in a guy with really good discipline, and I think he can have a really good impact on this team, along and adding another piece of that offensive weapon that can really get the Jets more spread out than they were able to do last season. Now at 17, I think the Lions luck into tackle Monroe Freeling, who is probably the truest left tackle in this league. They just had uh, one of the linemen retired, one lineman last year, one lineman is trying to go hit free agency. They need help on the offensive line, and when you have a quarterback like Jared Goff who thrives in the pocket, you have to protect him. You have a running back that you have a great running back combo in Jameer Gibbs and Isaiah Pacheco. You got to get good blockers up front. Your defense needs help, trust me. But if Jared Goff is not standing upright and you can't establish the run, this Detroit Lions is not a threatening team. Jared Goff is the key to this offense, and you need to have everything running through him. So having him upright with a tackle like Myron Freeling, you are going to be like, in my opinion, Freeling may be the second best lineman in the league or in the draft. And I have him over Fano, but I just think for fit wise, Fano goes to the Rams and Freeling to the Lions, and I think it's a perfect pick. Once again, not flashy, but I think this is what this team really needs. Then for number 18, now I feel like I might get a lot of pushback for this because he wouldn't be considered the second best safety in the draft, even though I think what he brings to the table will replace Harrison Smith the best, and that's Emmanuel McNeil Warren. Everyone knows he's my personal favorite safety in the draft. I think across the board, his tackling ability, his pursuit, his focus on being in the impact in he's in the battle. Every time there's the balls around, he's there. He's an impact player and a Brian Flores led defense that is about intensity and getting to the ball and making an impact. I don't think there's a guy that plays that kind of position better. I think he has a really good replacement for Harrison Smith, and I think he's going to be a standout safety. I really do believe he's going to become the best safety in this draft. I'm pretty solidly sold on that. I love all of his intangibles, all of his on the field ability. I think everything about him screams star, even though he's just a safety from Toledo and a lot of people are going to overlook him. He should not be overlooked, and I think he will have a great impact on this team. And I think the Vikings would be. Maybe this is a dream pick for me. Maybe the Vikings won't go here, but this is who I think the Vikings should take at 18, and I don't think there's a better option. Next, I got the Carolina Panthers taking defensive lineman Caden McDonald. He'd be considered the best defensive lineman in the draft. I think they want to bolster up that D line. They just brought in a great pass rusher in Jalen Phillips. They have a great corner in J.C. Horn, so they kind of got pieces all around the board. I think if C.J. Allen was still here, they may have taken a linebacker at this position, but I think taking a true defensive lineman and Caden McDonald, that you can put him right on your front, and he can just have a great immediate impact is really good for this team. A team that I think has really figured out their offense and really likes what they're doing with their offense. They just need to get this defense more honed in, and I think this would be a great guy to do that. Next, the Cowboys will then take Auburn edge rusher Keldrick Falk. I think taking a safety first and then taking an edge next is what you need. These are the two. I think two. You need a defensive back and you need an edge rusher. These are two most key positions for the Cowboys, and I think Keldrick Falk is the best edge rusher left in the draft. Now, I think his impact is. I don't think he's as good as the other ones on the top of the board. I think he could get. He could. I think against really good offensive linemen, which the Eagles normally put out. Commanders hopefully are gonna bolster up there. The Giants are looking to bolster up their line. I think it's going to be he does have some issues against guys that are of higher talent than him, but this is a guy that this is a position of need for the Cowboys, and I think he, like I said, I think it's another player that really screams Cowboys to me, and I think he can have a really good impact for this team. And if he's picked at 20, I think that is the perfect position for him to be picked at. Next, the Steelers. I don't think it's flashy. I don't think they're doing anything special here. I think they're going to take Blake Miller tackle from Clemson. He's not my favorite tackle at this point. I have one that I like better, but I think for what this team wants to bring in, they really need to bring in a guard. I think Blake Miller fits better at guard than tackle, so I think they're going to bring in a guy that's going to fit that position better, where he's one of the better more brutes at the line. He's going to slot in very well. I think this is the position they're going to bring in. Now, I could be wrong. They might bring in some other guy, but I do think they're going to go offensive line here. And if they're going to go someone, I think Blake Miller from Clemson is where they're going to go. He's not my favorite tackle in the draft. I actually have him probably ranked higher than probably 2 or 3 other linemen I got going after him. But this is the guy I think they're going to take here. Next, I got the Chargers taking edge rusher TJ Parker. I think they want to have immediate. They want to establish an edge pressure. And I think with TJ Parker, what he brings is versatility across that line. In college, he played all across that D line. You want to get a guy that can do all of that. A guy that can line up at the nose, he can line up on the ends, line up on the outside, wherever you put him on that line, whether it's 3-4-4-3 defense, whatever they're running there. Can't quite remember off the top of my head. This is a guy that can really have that versatility on that line. Like I said, I don't think he would be considered my favorite edge rusher left, but I think his versatility is something that Jim Harbaugh is really going to love, and he's just going to be slotted in. I don't think he's going to be a premier player, but I think he's going to slot in and have a really good career. Next, I think the Eagles are going to replace Reed Blankenship immediately and bring in Dylan Feiner. This is the best free safety in the draft. He plays deep, covers deep. I think you've already hit on both your corners in DeJean and Mitchell. I would say need an edge rusher still, but I think at this position he would be the best player available. And I think the Eagles, Harry Roseman knows that at this point in the draft, when you pick 23rd, you take the best player available. You've loaded up your offense. You don't need offensive help. Next year, you're going to address offensive lineman in case Lane Johnson is preparing to retire. But I think right now, taking a safety for an immediate replacement would be your best pick. Like I said, I think he's the best player left in the draft, so you take the best available player. Then the Browns are going to take Max Ianacre, or yeah, I think that's how you say it. He's tackle from Arizona State. He's my favorite tackle left. I like him better than Caleb Lomu and better than Caden Proctor. I think he's an anchor, solid, strong. I think you can put him on the left side, the right side. I think he's more of a true right tackle, even though I think the Browns need a left tackle. But I think if you move him to the left side, he can really do some damage. He's a tough boy. He looks powerful. I think protecting Shadir Sanders is getting him a weapon and protecting him are the two most important things they have to get out of this first round. So if you take Cardinal Tate at 6, you're taking a tackle at this point. You're going to take a tackle with this guy's caliber 100%. Now, Max may end up falling and playing guard in the NFL. I think this is a guy that definitely it wouldn't shock me if he ends up playing guard, but I think he's a true tackle, and I think he has I think a higher ceiling than a lot of people believe, and I think if he can come out here and play tackle for the Browns and really do some damage, he could add on to that O line of they develop O-line pretty well there in Cleveland. I will say there's been some Hall of Famers they've got running through. A lot of their own linemen left or got re-signed and got money. Like, this is a place where O-linemen can succeed, and I think this is a guy who can very succeed here. Next, the Bears are taking one of my personal favorite edge rushers in the draft, someone that is not ranked as high as some of these other guys, but I think could have a really good impact, is Cassius Howell. He's another older player coming out. He's got a lot of years under him. I think the Bears need an edge rusher, and they're going to take the best available edge rusher. And point blank period, Cassius Howell would be the best available edge rusher left. He's someone that I was hoping would fall to the second to the Ravens in the second round. I don't think it's going to happen. I think this is the position he goes, and I think the Bears would be more than happy bringing Cassius Howell, who's going to have a great impact on this team. Next, I got the Bills taking the best slot corner in the league, in the draft, Avian Terrell. He's the best slot. He can blitz from the corner position. He can cover matchup very well against tight ends, running backs, slot receivers. He's got the quickness, speed. He plays a lot like AJ Terrell, but a little more. I think he's a little more physical. I really like what he brings to the board, and I think the Bills need to improve in their defense. They've been very old on the back end of their defense, and I think they're pretty. I like their front seven. I don't love it, but I like it. But having a true corner, just adding a piece, I think he's one of the best players available left, and I think that's a true pick that they're gonna really appreciate having. Plus, Joe Brady, he's a defensive guy. He's a defensive back kind of guy. They're gonna bring in a guy that is gonna help that defensive room. I think on an immediate impact scale. Next, I got the 49ers. I've been going back and forth on this, and I think the 49ers are they signed Mike Evans for the offseason. It's a 3-year deal, probably more of a 1-year deal, maybe 2 years, trade him in the second year, maybe. I don't think they have a true wide receiver. And George Kittle has been a guy that I love, but he's been dealing with injuries most of his career. And when he goes out, it's immediately just next man up scenario. Well, why can't the next man up be at pick 27, Oregon tight end Kenyon Sadiq? You can play him in the slot, you can play him on the outside, you can play him at tight end. Even if George Kittle is in the lineup, you can put Sadiq anywhere on that offense. And this is a guy that needs to improve in his blocking a little bit. He's the best blocking tight end in the draft, but okay. I would say he's the most balanced tight end in the draft. Maybe not the best blocker, but he's better than most. But he's got the best hands, the best vertical threat, possession, catch. He can do a little bit of everything. And I think that's what this team needs on offense. They need an impact flying player. Ricky Pearsall's great, but I don't know if he's a true one. Uh, you got Jennings. It's not going to. I think he's going somewhere else. You got Mike Evans, who's in the latter half of his career. He's not going to have the same impact he would have 5-6 years ago. And like I said, CMC can deal with injuries. George Kittle can deal with injuries. You got a lot of guys that can deal with injuries on this team. So why not bring in a true proven weapon that you can slot immediately and just come on. Imagine Kyle Shanahan like scheming up Kenyon Sadiq. I think we all would love to watch it and make Niners games even more exciting than they already are. And I think being able to sit behind a learn from George Kittle and be able to share reps with him would be phenomenal for this kid's career. Next at 28, I have the Texans taking, well, originally on my mock draft this morning, had them take tackle from Alabama, Caden Proctor. But I'm switching that right before I started recording. They're going to take Caleb Lomu. I think Caleb Lomu's going to immediately be able to hop on that offensive line, whether he plays right tackle or he plays guard. He's going to immediately. You got to protect Stroud. This defense is a generational defense. The weakness of this team was the offense, and it was protecting their quarterback. You have to protect your quarterback. I don't care. This is a team that would be wise of trading up in the draft to take one of the best linemen. But I think if you have to settle for Caleb Lomu, you're not going to be upset. I think he's going to do a very good, impactful job on this line. They need to protect CJ Stroud, and whether Lomu works out or not, you have to at least show your franchise, whether it's your quarterback or your fan base, that you're willing to protect your quarterback and you're going to do what it takes to protect your quarterback. Next, I got the Kansas City Chiefs at 29, and I think they luck into one of my favorite players in the draft, who, as everyone knows, my favorite corner in the draft, Jermon McCoy. Chiefs have proven that they can bring in corners, and immediately turn them into something, whether it's Snead, whether it's McDuffie, whether it's Watson. You bring in these guys and they have a really good impact at corner position. Bring in a guy that's an island corner that's going to drop in this draft because people are worried about his ACL not playing next year. I don't think the Chiefs are worried. I don't think the Chiefs are concerned. I think the Chiefs love what this guy brings, and I think everyone in the draft that lets this guy fall to 29 to the Chiefs will regret it, because I think he will become immediate impact, and I think he will be the best corner coming out of this draft, because if it wasn't for his ACL tear, he would have been the highest prospect of corner coming into this draft. So there's not much more to say that. I think the Chiefs are going to hit a home run with, if they get the best tackle in the draft and they get, in my opinion, the best corner in the draft. I think it's a home run on either board. This would be a perfect position for them to take him. Jamal McCoy, like I said, I love everything this man brings. We're worried about the ACL. I'm not worried about the ACL. I would have had him drafted higher. If it wasn't for the ACL, I think he would have been a top 5, maybe top 6 off the board. But based on this ACL, people are worried. Like I said, I'm not. I don't think the Chiefs will be either. I think the Chiefs will be very happy to have him at 29. If anything, they'll be thrilled. Then at 30, I have the Dolphins taking what some would say the best receiver available in Omar Cooper Jr. Even though everyone knows I'm higher on Denzel Boston than I am Omar Cooper, but Omar Cooper through this whole process has really risen through the ranks, and people have been higher on him than most. Even like I said, even though me personally, I think Denzel Boston, I think it's a better slotting in piece, but I think Boston also is a truer 2 or 3 on most teams, where I think he can just have a possession impact that I think a lot of these receivers need to be almost need to be slotted into being the best receiver. I wanted Omar Cooper to drop to the second round to go with his quarterback Mendoza, but I think the Dolphins have an immediate need for wide receiver. They no longer have Jalen Waddle. They no longer have Tyreek Hill. I think if they take Mansour Delane, the best corner in the quote unquote best corner in the draft at 11, I think they're going to take the best available wide receiver, and that would be Omar Cooper. Then at 31, I think the Patriots will take the now best available defensive lineman, who I think is the best defensive lineman in the draft, Caleb Banks. As you all know, I love Caleb Banks. I think he's a true starter in the D line. I think it's something that this team the Patriots really had a rotation on this defense. I don't think there was a guy consistently all season that was making plays and making impact. This is a guy you can throw in that rotation who I think will earn the starting job and be starting that D line most of the season. And I think Mike Vrabel would love a player like him with this player's intensity and just pure consistency on that D line. And then Seattle at 32. I was going to have them take Denzel Boston, wide receiver, but I think this is a team that, after re-signing Shaheed, they got Cooper Kupp, they got JSN, they like the Horton and the other guys in their depth positions. I think Boston would just be cluttered up there, so I think they're going to take an edge rusher to replace Boya Maffey and take Zion Young from Missouri. Even though I don't think Zion Young is a first round prospect, I think he's more of a second round prospect. I think getting picked at 32 is not bad for him at all. He's going to be going into a great schemed defense. Mike McDonald would love to have another player he can work with on that D line and create an edge pressure. Like I said, I don't think Zion Young is the best edge in the league, but if he can become a rotational edge player for the Seahawks defense, which is schemed and coached so well, I think it would be perfect for them. But there we go. Those are my 1 through 32 mock draft 2.0. If you got any thoughts or opinions, please leave them in the comment below. You know I'm willing to hear what anyone has to say. So we got the draft coming up soon. I'll probably drop a mock draft 3.0 next week. Just if I have any changes in mind that I want to make, anything that comes out. Other than that, everyone have a great rest of your day. Enjoy yourself, and always thank you.